Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you both for being here. And I will also just state for the record that I am looking forward to supporting both of you in these new positions. I think you are very qualified, highly qualified for these new challenges that you're taking on. Also, thank you and your families for the commitment they have to make in this new venture and stress that will be added to your household. So thank you both very much for that willingness. I want to, General Ham, I'm not going to have really, most of my questions have been answered, except I would put in my pitch, of course, that Alaska would be happy to take the command when you look for a location. We would tell you that we're 90% by air to any place in the Western world. We can access most places through our airport technology, and we don't close our airports under any conditions, so I'll just leave it at that. I know General Kehler knows that about Alaska and the uniqueness, so. But I had to get my pitch in. It seems like everyone else did. General Kehler, let me walk through. Mine are going to be a little parochial, but I want to give first a broad statement because I did hear some comments, as usual in this committee, from some that are somewhat worked up over the START treaty. I'm not. I think it's a good treaty. I'm looking forward, hopefully, to vote on this at some point. But let me be a little bit parochial, but really clarify, and I think you will, I anticipate your answer on this, so it's more of a setup because I want to make it clear one more time that the START treaty, and I know there's some discussion of missile defense and how it interacts with it. My understanding is that the START treaty does not restrict the missile defense system in any way. And let me ask you it in a formal way if I can. If confirmed, will the START treaty hinder your ability to advocate for ballistic missile defense requirements for this country?
Sir, I don't believe it will.
That's you know, it's almost like we have to do this every hearing with every person from the military when we talk about the START, because there seems to be a discussion to kind of put it in the air, let people, you know, spin out there a little bit and let the press carry it as maybe it will. But what I hear over and over again, especially when we had Secretary Clinton here, and Secretary Gates, that it was very clear that it does not hinder our capacity. And I want to just say first thank you for, once again, from the military, putting it on the record so it's clear, and hopefully maybe we'll end that part of this debate around the START treaty. But now let me kind of hone in, if I can, on the missile defense system, especially in Fort Greely, Alaska. As you know, that's the majority of the ground-based interceptors are deployed there, and I'm interested to know how you will assuming you're confirmed in your position, help advocate and represent the requirements and the capability of what's up there. Can you give me kind of your sense and your feeling or your understanding of the need, but how you will advocate for basically our last line of defense when it comes to missile defense for this country?
Well, sir, as you well know, the current policy of our government is that we will deploy a limited defensive system against long-range threat from regional powers that could reach out and strike the United States of America. And that is the basis on which the sensor network and, of course, the ground-based mid-course interceptors in Alaska and the handful at Vandenberg were postured. And so my responsibility, I believe, is to help advocate for that capability. Certainly as long as that's our country's view about what we need to do.
Very good. Let me take you one more. I don't know if you've ever been to Fort Greely. Have you been up there yet?
Sir, I have not. I've not been.
We'll invite you.
Yes, sir.
We would love to have you up there. I know the director of the Space Missile Defense Command has been, always comes up. He always picks January. I think that's great. Gives him a lot of extra credit points when you come to Alaska in January. But we would love to have you up there. It's a very unique situation, but also there are some what I would call some deficits. The nearest town has one doctor, and there's no clinic on base, to give you a sense of what they have to work in and the conditions they work in. So we would love to have you up there at some point at your convenience, because I think once you're on the ground there, first you'll find a very committed community within range of the base that is very supportive and helping any way they can. But I think it's also important to kind of see, so at your if you're confirmed, we would love to participate in any way we can to help make that happen.
Yes, sir. Just to put a finer point, I've been to Alaska a number of times. I just
Right.
haven't been to Greely. Typically, I go to Clear.
Oh, very good. And that's actually, as you know, another piece of the equation with Fort Greely. And I don't have questions on Clear, but I'm glad you brought it up because at some point I'll want to have some conversation about the long-term plan. I know there is one of rehabilitation and renovation to the facility, and just to make sure we're kind of on track on the dollar requirements. I know in these tight budget times, everyone's looking to push where they can, but obviously we think Clear is critical long-term, and that investment that is being considered over the next several years will hopefully be continued. So I don't have to have a conversation on that right now. Let me ask you just kind of a general question on support and development of the two-stage ground-based interceptor as a hedge in the event of the proposed development and deployment of the long-range phase and phase adaptive approach if it is not achieved by 2020. In other words, if we can't get to our schedule, do you see the two-stage ground-based interceptor as a hedge to make sure we're covered? I guess your thoughts on that.
Well, sir, I don't know enough about this. I'd like to take that one for the record if I could.
I would like that. That'd be great, because it's not that I would say that the military is not always on schedule, but there are times where planning of development, especially new technology, gets delayed. And if we don't have something that backs against it to protect ourselves as we develop our technology, as things change, I want to make sure we have a kind of cohesive plan in that arena, and not just say we're done here because we have this new plan down the road and then we miss some timetables. So if you could take that for the record, that'd be very good.
I will, sir. I apologize, but I'm just not familiar enough with the details of
No, I understand.
General O'Reilly's laydown to render a comment.
No problem. I know when I talk to General Riley, he has it down to the detail. He lives and breathes it, but I know that you're just getting into this position, so I appreciate if you could.
Yes, sir.
The other one is, in some advanced questions we gave you in policy questions, you made a comment, it's robust access to space is a national imperative, which I 100% agree. And, you know, in Alaska, we have the Kodiak Launch Complex. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It is a very flexible, efficient, and does commercial as well as military launch capacity. The Space Development and Test Wing currently have, I think, 2 missions scheduled in Kodiak this year. It has very unique capability, and I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I would love, again, the same thing. If you're not, I would encourage you to kind of look at that and then help our office understand, help me understand what you see is the potential, if at all potential, of long-term relationship from your office and your operation with the Kodiak Launch Facility. There's a lot of federal dollars in there to build that facility. It has great capacity. And again, as I said, there already are 2 missions this year from one component of the military. So if you could just brief comment, my time has expired, but any comment on that at this point?
Well, sir, I think the mission's tomorrow, actually. I think one of them is tomorrow.
I think you're right.
And yes, sir, if confirmed, I'd be more than happy to get involved with you and have discussions about Kodiak.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, that's all the questions I have, and I just appreciate the time. And again, congratulations for, again, your willingness to take on additional responsibility and commitments to this country. Thank you both.